Hello, everybody, and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43, and tonight we are taking our very first look at the brand new pan-European cruiser, the La Perla Azul, aka the Blue Pearl. Okay, even me with my limited knowledge can figure out what that means. It is the Blue Pearl. But yes, Pearl, we'll let you guys decide. But we are going to take a look at our commander, Marisa Laluca. I love the name, by the way. But her base trait, Rage of the Seas, gives us better cruiser torpedo detectability and better cruiser torpedo range. We have Francesco Membelli for a little bit faster reload, and we have Nikolai Kuznetsov for a little bit more range on the guns. We have Beyond Range, Ingenious, Back in Stock, and Steer Clear. I didn't bother using her perk here. If you guys want to go for that, go for it. But let's be honest, like, how many torpedoes are you going to be landing in a match normally, right? Like, I don't know. It's just not something that I think you should go all in on, which the game does give you the option. Okay, you essentially do, like, you got your own Arthuses built in for the torpedo damage if you're into it. But anyway. Fully packed is what I'm bringing. As far as the actual upgrades, we're running Aiming Systems Mod 1, Steering Gears Mod 2. You'll see why. Concealment System Mod, and we are running the Main Battery Mod 3 with the Epic Mod, so that every 30,000 damage we get a little bit faster reload. Alright. For the loadout, we have sonar. You could go with Catapult Fighter instead and go for like an Arthas kind of damage build. Go all in. I don't know how well that'll work, but you know, if you get a dumb enough enemy team and you get enough actual teammates to be fun, maybe. But so far tonight, I haven't had that. I haven't had any games that were interesting whatsoever, and the most interesting game that I just had was still a pretty one-sided affair. But we also get smoke, which is nice. It's not the longest dispersion time on the smoke, but it's enough to get some DACA in if you get any spotting, and that is a big if. Also has a heal, but it's not a particularly good heal. It's okay. It'll get you like 4,000 some odd hit points back in a pinch. But we are running the Italian Unity flag, because if you squint just right, kind of looks like a helmet, or a Spartan helmet. And then, of course, it kind of looks like a helmet. Shocker. Anyway, Free Wind is the camo that comes with the ship, and honestly, I do like the camo, or the skin, whatever you want to call it. But, yeah. Anyway, let's get into the specs. It's got no hit points. 34,500 hit points is terrible. 13% damage reduction for torpedoes, so don't take a torp. Don't get shot. That's your goal, right? This is kind of one of those ships that really needs to dodge shells. Okay. Artillery main battery is 203 millimeter 50 caliber BL model 1924 Mark Ds, and you get 2x2 of those. Those are in the back of the ship, so you get 4 guns at the back and 3 guns at the front. The 203 millimeter 50 caliber BL Mark III is a triple turret at the front of the ship. So you get 3 guns over the bow, 4 guns over the stern. It's not a particularly good design for anybody that likes to push in, but if you like to kite away and you like to do things, we'll show you why that can be kind of fun. Firing range, not the greatest in the world. Remember, we are buffing our firing range a little bit with Kuznetsov in here, but still 17.6 kilometers. Then again, trying to hit anything that's actually dodging beyond that, unless it's a battleship, kind of difficult. Reload time's respectable when we build into it. Remember, we do have Membelli in there to help with the reload, but we got it down to 9.4 seconds. This is a heavy cruiser, so it is respectable. 180-degree turn time is also very good for a heavy cruiser, especially. 17.8 seconds is pretty solid, and that is with us taking the reload in the 4th slot, which nerfs our 180-degree turn time just slightly. Goes from like 15 seconds to 17.8. HE shell maximum damage 2850 with a 17% chance to set fires. I would say stick with the HE 99.9% of the time in this ship. Every time I have switched to AP, I have been let down on all ships except for extremely broadside cruisers. You can Citadel them, but even Citadels don't hurt that much more than the HE would have. And so there you have it. 4,500 maximum AP shell damage is pretty freaking pathetic for a heavy cruiser. I don't know, man. They don't seem to do any damage. Even if you Citadel things, they just are very, very lethargic. I don't know. Or not lethargic. Lethargic would be slow. What's the other word that I'm thinking of? There's another word. Like, the shells are very underwhelming. We'll go with that one. Secondaries, you got 150 or 105 millimeter, 65 caliber SK Doppel C31s. You get 8 of those, reaching out 5.2 kilometers, reloading in 3.3 seconds, and doing a maximum HE shell damage of 1,200 with a 5% chance to set fires. Fun fact: these things do actually set fires with the secondaries, believe it or not. I got a couple of fires in a couple of the games that I ran into, but boy, we've had a rough morning, or rough night, I should say, trying to get games in this thing. I be honest with you, both of these cruisers, out of the two cruisers that is here I've played tonight, I would rather be in the Elephant because it has a much better broadside potential. But neither of these are particularly fun for me and my play style, and I'll go over that later on. But 533 millimeter triple launchers, you get 12 of them total. So 4 triple launchers on either side of the ship, or sorry, 2 triple launchers on either side of the ship for 4 total, and 12 total torpedoes. The reload is pretty good, 56.4 seconds, so pretty solid. This is a torpedo cruiser, don't get it twisted, but the torps are so freaking pathetic. 10,700 damage is the maximum damage you're going to get. If you do hit something with them, you're probably going to get a flood, but it's not worth building into torpedoes, at least not according to what I've seen. I mean, you'd have to be somebody who has help on your team to be able to like take advantage of the torpedo aspect out of other than just dropping torps and hoping for people to be dumb, right? But they do have very good range, 12.4 kilometers, and remember, this is tier 7, so that's pretty crazy for a tier 7 cruiser to have that kind of range. I think the other Pan-Asian torpedo cruisers probably have somewhere close to that, but I think their torps are better overall. But these are not deep water torps, and they do 86 knots. So these are fun torps if you can get people to just be dumb and sail in straight lines. Otherwise, they're just torpedoes that you throw out there every so often. You're not going to have a high hit chance, but when you hit things, it hurts. Or it doesn't hurt, but it causes flooding. And I've gotten a couple of kills on the torps because of the floods. As far as A defense, it's pretty pathetic. You got 20mm 65 C38 L30s. You get 6 of those doing 18 damage per second, reaching out 2 kilometers. 37mm 83 caliber SK Doppel LC30s. You get 16 of those doing 16 damage per second, reaching out to 3.5 kilometers. And then you have the 105mm 65 caliber SK Doppel C31s. You get 8 of those doing 66 damage per second, reaching out to 4.5 kilometers. Basically, you'll shoot down a plane or two, but they're probably going to be doing a lot more damage to you. Maneuverability, 33.5 knots top speed with a 710 meter turning circle. So it's got the same turning circle as a Sodak battleship, aka Alabama, Massachusetts. Rudder shift time, we've got to 6.9 seconds. Nice. Concealment, I know, I've got the freaking, what do you call it, sense of humor of a 14-year-old. Get over it. Detectability range by sea, 10.4 kilometers, so decently sneaky for a heavy cruiser, but not obnoxiously sneaky. Detectability by air, 6.5, guaranteed is always 2, and then detectability while firing in smoke is respectively 6.8 kilometers for a heavy cruiser, which isn't too bad. Yeah, now for the look at the stats, and it's probably, 4 games, 2 and 2. Main guns have been surprisingly accurate, but maybe not as accurate as I'd like in the situations that I've run into, but the stats are nothing, and I'm not playing this ship anymore, so good luck. So you could take everything that I say with a grain of salt from here on out, which you should do anyway, but just in case you didn't have that. But as far as bow plating, you have 25 millimeters of armor. So it's overmatchable by literally every battleship caliber gun at the tier. Not ideal, but 15-inch guns and above go straight through, send you home angry. But the good news is you got a little bit of side armor, so if you angle effectively, you can in fact ricochet battleship caliber guns. Where is the side plating? Oh, that's superstructure, dum-dum. Sorry. Bear with me, folks. It's been a long night. All right, casemate armor is 27 millimeters. Why is that important? Because 27 is only overmatched by 16-inch guns and above, meaning anything 15 inches or less doesn't overmatch. So any of your German battleships other than the battle cruisers, any of your French battleships, like they don't overmatch you. You can angle against it. So bait them into shooting your citadel, and then just use that armor to make them miserable, right? It's kind of like an Italian cruiser in that sense. Okay, gotta be smart with it. However, just like an Italian cruiser, it's got a very, very exposed citadel, meaning you're in for a bad night if you screw it up. And with a sheer lack of your hit points, yeah, a single citadel from a battleship is absolutely devastating. Rapid reload, above average torpedo reload speed. Area denial, above average number of available torpedo tubes. And hidden. Good concealment means the ship can get closer to enemies before being detected. La Perla Azul. La Perla Azul is a beauty on the water, with sleek lines and colors of gold and deep blue. She navigates treacherous waters with the poise of a predator stalking its prey, gliding unseen until she's ready to unleash her strength. She was designed in 1754. Of course she was. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I do like the skin. Let's be honest, I do like that a lot. I could do without the little wings on the side, the like wing sails. I think that's a little bit too fantasy piratey for me. You get rid of those, and I feel much better about the ship. But other than that, I do like it. There's some gold on there for a little bit of good looks. We got the wood grain sides that look good. You got some embellishments on the turrets. It is a good looking ship. I do like the wing sails on the back. The front, I could do without. The rear looks really sleek. I like it. But yeah, it's a good looking ship. The play style, though, is just not for me as a solo player. You need teammates. And we all know those are few and far between unless you're in a division. So, a great ship for a division. Not so great for those of us who aren't, unless, of course, you get lucky. But with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we are going to be on Northern Waters, and we're going to be in the La Perla Azul. I do love the name, I ain't gonna lie. I would just call it the Blue Pearl, but it doesn't sound quite as nice when you go, it's the Blue Pearl. Not to be confused with the Black Pearl, but, you know, same sort of deal, right? But La Pearl... I can't say it! La Perla Azul. I keep thinking of like La Pour Azul. Because I think of lapis, right? So like lapis lazuli, if you guys don't know. Anyway. Where are my Minecraft nerds at out there? But anyway, we're going to showcase the strengths, the weaknesses of the ship, and why I just don't really get along with it. Again, it's just playstyle, right? Like you guys know... I'm not a cruiser main. I can play cruisers at a decent level. I'm not going to be like in the top tier of cruiser players out there. Obviously, you got way better cruiser players out there than I am. I can hold my own with battleships. In cruisers, I can do okay. I do pretty decent with destroyers as well. But yeah, you guys know I'm a battleship main, right? Like that's what I do. But when it comes down to playing all the classes, I feel like I can handle myself adequately in any class. But this thing has been incredibly frustrating for me, but it's not really the ship's fault, because I feel like the ship does just fine. The fires that this thing sets for the amount of shells that you're sending downrange seems a bit excessive. And that goes to the fact that it's got a high fire chance. Now, you could absolutely put a different commander on this potentially and do even better. I just kind of went with a straight-up build to showcase the new commander and all that stuff. I didn't really try to go for torpedoes or anything like that. This is not this is the build you should be running. It's not optimized or anything like that. This is simply me just doing a quick once-over of the skills and stuff and choosing what I think would be best for me in the moment. And... anyway, what I'm getting at is there's one big drawback with these two ships, and that is this one and the Elephant, which I will be showcasing the Elephant as well in the near future, so keep an eye out for that. I will try to get an interesting game in that one, but my problem is the games just aren't suitable for this. Now, I thought maybe the Iowa here was going to go in front of the island, so I went ahead and dropped the torps and then just started trying to farm him. Of course, I smoke up, and he goes dark. This is my curse. Both of our destroyers on the left side are out there together, but they are at least spotting the Yin Yang, so we're going to try to help with that. We get a fire early on the Iowa. Thankfully, the Iowa's like, okay, well, it's a single fire. I don't want to be set back on fire, so I'm just going to let this burn for a little while. So we do actually get a decent chunk of damage on the Iowa just because he refuses to put out a single fire. And so thank you, Iowa, for your donation to my cause. But we get a couple of good hits on the destroyer. We continue shooting at the Iowa where we can to try to get another fire on him. And like I said, these tend to get fires. Like it is a surprising amount of fires that you get out of these things. But as we get another shot here at the Yin Yang, you can see we hit him with one shell out of what do we get? 7 total shells going down range, and you can see the accuracy of these things isn't the greatest when it comes to shooting at destroyers. Right now, battleships, it's fine. Like you're going to be able to land more shells than you're not, and these shells are 203mm shells, so they're going to be able to pin a lot of areas on battleships and do some damage. Obviously, if you're hitting the belt like I am, you're probably not going to get the damage. But as you can see, this is the problem that I've been running into. I have my smoke. I'm ready to DACA. I've got no spotting. 3 destroyers in this lobby, 2 of them on top of each other. They did, to their credit, counter the destroyer, but the guy on the right's not even bothering to try to spot. So we have to come out and do our own spotting. And this is the problem with me playing these types of cruisers, because these types of cruisers do not fit with my playstyle. Right? They just don't. I know that when it comes down, push comes to shove, I am not going to get the help because I'm a solo player. Like, I can't rely on teammates to be there to be useful, right? And this isn't me bashing teammates or anything like that. This is simply stating the obvious. If you play a lot of division play, you can at least rely on other people around you who are going to do something close to what you need them to do, whether it be a battleship being able to deal damage, whether it be a destroyer doing the spotting, little things like that that help during the match, right? Whereas as a solo player, it doesn't really help with these types of ships. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm going to showcase the strengths and the weakness of the ship real soon here, because as we get radared by the Atlanta, I start salivating. I'm like, wait, an Atlanta here? Now, you got to be smart, and this Atlanta player is somebody that I gotta respect, alright? You might think that, what do you mean, Spartan? It's an Atlanta, you're in a heavy cruiser, you overmatch probably. Well, you guys probably don't think that, because a lot of people don't realize that Atlanta gets overmatched by heavy cruisers, but I do, and then I get stuck on the motherfucking island when I'm 60 feet away from the island. Why, Wargaming? Why do you torture us with this stupid bullshit clipping? Ah! Rip the headphone users. But this is a Spartan video, just in case you forgot. Anyway, Atlanta moves up. Our destroyer counters their destroyer out there on the edge. Our battleship is so far away that he's not going to be really useful. And at this point, now I've given the team plenty of time to get to a position where they could potentially counter me. So I have to respect the fact that the Iowa's going to be able to shoot at me, right? I also want to get these torpedoes away on the Iowa, because I know the Atlanta's here, and I want to stay angled to the Atlanta just in case it's a GigaChad Atlanta. Now, fortunately for us, this Iowa's not very good at aiming. He auto-aims the shot, ends up trailing the shot behind us, missing the Citadel altogether, and thus I get to stick around for a little while longer. I drop smoke. The Atlanta is a GigaChad. He is straight up firing AP out of an Atlanta because he knows that he can absolutely wreck a cruiser that's over-angled with an Atlanta's DPM, okay? And then he switches to HE when he realizes I'm not an idiot. But we know that he has short-range torpedoes. We know that as long as we turn away from them, he's not going to hit us, right? Unless he has, like, some weird build where he gets a little extra range. Like, we know his range on his torps is 4.5 kilometers. So once we got outside 4.5 kilometers from him, we knew we were just fine. Now, I got to give credit where credit is due for that Atlanta, right? That Atlanta did a great job of putting himself in a good position to help his team. He counters our destroyer. He's capturing the base. He's being a nuisance to me. He's bait as well for the battleship to potentially get some good damage. Fortunately for me, that battleship player is not very good. But gotta give credit where credit is due. This Atlanta player at least is somewhat capable. Okay? And that is rare, okay? First of all, if you see an Atlanta generally speaking, they've been around a long freaking time. Now, I know there's a couple Atlantas that's been brought into the game later on, and this is where I'm going to showcase one of the weaknesses of this ship. Hitting a target at range that isn't a battleship is difficult, right? Like, they have to be basically willing to sail in a straight freaking line, and we do hit and we do pin. Again, we get a good chance to use the island cover to protect us from the Iowa. We are sonarred by the Atlanta right now, and we're going to try to hit the Peterbag. But again, I say this again. Wargaming, can we please get an intermediate zoom? Can we? Is that so hard? Why can we not seem to get an intermediate level of zoom? Where instead of it going from 0 zoom all the way to all the zoom, why can't we get an in-between level so that for further away or faster targets, they don't just disappear? Like, I'm just firing blind, hoping for the best. Right? We need an intermediate level of zoom. Like, there should be a staggered zoom system, right? But that's just my own grievance. But we take some shots at the Peterbag, not expecting much. I know that the Iowa has turned away, which means this Atlanta is all alone. He's all alone. There's nobody here beside him. I'm gonna chew him up because he doesn't overmatch me, but I overmatch him. Obviously, our battleship is hell-bent on being as useless as possible in the back. But Atlanta, thank God, starts with the HE, tries to torpedo us. We're not going to fall for that. I make the freaking mistake of using my freaking damage control too early because I forget that this thing has, like, the worst damage control I've ever seen in my life. It literally lasts 4 seconds or something like that. It's absurd. But we do manage to get rid of him. Fortunately for us, we don't get the double fire against this because that would have been absolutely horrendous. But yeah, the damage control party on this is literally like 4 seconds of immunity, which is not enough when you're in that sort of a fight, right? So you got to wait that little extra time, get rid of the chance of getting set on fire, and then use your damage control. But we easily get rid of the Atlanta. We lost a lot of hit points there because, again, Atlanta, high DPM, a lot of guns. If you go full broadside, you can get, I think, 16 guns on target at any given time with an Atlanta, and he definitely got away with that. Fortunately, when he had come around the corner, there was a little bit of a delay by the time he, like, went dark and then got respotted. Like, the game kind of screwed me in that sense because he got to obviously see me, but I didn't see him, right? Until after he fired his guns at, like, point-blank range. Fortunately, he, like I said, if he'd have had AP loaded there, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now. But fortunately for me, he had HE loaded, so we're able to take it. We do have a little bit of we do have another heal left, so we're gonna get a little bit of that hit points back. And like I said, it's like 4,000 damage. It's not much. It's almost 5K. I think it's like 4,700 or something like that. You can heal back with this heal. It's not a particularly good heal. And when you consider that this thing has 0 hit points, like, I don't understand why this thing has so few hit points. Like, why? Why does this thing have so few hit points? I don't know. I don't know why they did that, but I'm sure they've got their reasons. But as we try to pull up, we want to use this island for farming the Iowa back there. You can see we get another fire, and this is what I'm saying. Like, these things do seem to set fires pretty nicely. And they have a decent enough reload. Like, we haven't done a lot of damage, but we've got 2 procs on our reload module so that we get a little bit of extra reload. But again, we're going to run into that same frustrating scenario where we're going to run out of being able to shoot at people because our teammates are simply not able to spot. Now, we get another fire. Unfortunately, somebody torps the freaking Iowa, and that forces him to damage control, so that's unfortunate. We get another shot out there, though, trying to hit him. We know that the Peterbag is coming around the right side. I don't want to fight a Peterbag, so I'm like, okay, well, we got a destroyer on the left side. We got a Harbin on the left side. If I'm not going to get to shoot at the enemy Iowa anymore, it's time to go out that way. Maybe we can get into a fight with the destroyer or the cruiser. I assume, since they are clearing our spawn and had to fight a freaking carrier, that they've probably taken some hits. So there's a good chance that I end up in a position where I can get rid of a couple of people. But as we push across the map, you can see, like, this ship is capable. Like, it's not a bad ship, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm dogging on the ship. It's just it doesn't fit with my playstyle because I'm solo most of the time, and these ships, these style of, like, sneaky, like, smoke screen sort of cruisers that you just rely on teammates a little too much for my taste. So personally, I'm not a fan, but I could see where this could be good, especially in a division. So we know that the enemy is in the Charlie Cap. We know that they have a Harbin over here, and they have a Benson over here. I'm not scared of either of those. But together, they could be a problem, right? So we're going to keep our distance. We're going to try to bait them into coming to us, right? Come fight our fight. I don't want to fight both of you at the same time. I want you guys to come out at me. They have to do something. They're going to lose in less than 3 minutes. I go ahead and put out some area denial torpedoes just to assume that they're going to go from the Charlie Cap into the Bravo Cap, right? But in a moment, I'm going to get detected. We know it's their destroyer. I don't know where their Harbin currently is, so I've got to be on the defensive here, right? I don't know. I don't want to take a whole bunch of damage for no reason. You can see somebody is clearly aiming at me, and now both of them are aiming at me. That is the beauty of having the Ingenious, right? But Harbin comes around the corner. We've got him spotted. We get the shot out. Again, we are a heavy cruiser. If I'd have had AP here, this would have been a great shot. But unfortunately, I don't. But the HE is solid enough on this ship. Like, yes, there are situations where the AP is better, but the AP tends to be a little bit too anemic. That's the word I was looking for earlier! Anemic! Oh my god, I just thought of it just now. But anyway, we chased the Harbin off, and then this Benson, like, God bless his little heart, this Benson is like, I've got to try to be a hero for my team. I've got a cruiser out here. He's firing AP. You can see I am going to try to drop some torpedoes, try to bait this guy into running into them. But we have HE loaded, and this destroyer is like, okay, we're going to go to a gunfight. Now, I am not in any sort of danger from this destroyer's guns, as long as I don't just go flat broadside. And this ship is set up to kite. So we have our 4 guns over the rear, and you can see he is just not a very good shot either. So we're not really scared of him at all, and God bless him. He's going to try to dodge, but I mean, you're 7.5 kilometers away, sunshine. You're not going to dodge much of anything here, okay? Like, I'm not a dum-dum. I know a lot of people probably think I am. Sometimes I am, but most of the time I leave 2 brain cells that I can put on any given moment, right? And when they're working together, even I can manage to pull off some strange little moments. And this poor destroyer, like, this is the worst gunnery I've ever seen in my life from a destroyer. Like, this guy's 7.5 kilometers away. He can't hit a cruiser. Yet I am just annihilating the man. Just completely obliterating him. But again, you gotta give him credit because he had to try, right? He had to. He had no choice. They're going to lose. I'm low health. He's got an option, but yeah, he's just never going to win that fight. Destroyer versus cruiser is a rough ask anyway, and yeah, it's just not a situation where I'm going to lose very often. But 91,000 damage. We did our job. Top of leaderboard, 2,500 base. Let me know what you guys think of the Blue Pearl. Do you guys enjoy it? Do you not enjoy it? Let me know. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.